Hello, I'm Matt Williamson, at Williamson NFL. Really good response from you guys from yesterday's podcast. I'm going to call it Matt's Mandate from now on. The 4 big man draft strategy that I laid out. A lot of you had some really nice comments. Matt, that's the best podcast you ever done, and you do great podcasts, blah, blah, blah. I very much appreciate it. I'm glad you guys took it and didn't be like, oh, that's dumb. You know, at least you listened. I urge you to check it out. And 2 days ago, we talked about draft capital. Warren Sharp put out the how much draft capital every team has for this upcoming draft currently. Like if you put a value on every pick 6 is worth more than pick 30. You know what I'm saying? And it's not good for the Steelers. Mostly because, well, they traded their second round pick. And they're also a playoff team that's picking reasonably late in every round. So only the Vikings, they came in 32. Washington came in 31. Were worse off in terms of draft capital for this upcoming draft. The Steelers now sit at 30. Some of you asked me, what about next year? Well, they got to play the season and figure out where you end up in each round first. I know they have a ton of future picks lined up because of the comp game, but we don't know this for next year yet because you have to know their win-loss record. You see what I'm saying? So Warren put out a chart also. I'm not going to spend a lot of time or any more time really on the 2025 draft that hasn't happened, but he did put out a chart going all the way back to 2010. And in those drafts, it's in the books. It's not what did you have when you came in. It's what picks did you end up using day 1, day 2, day 3, and who had the most and the least capital during that time. So I found it interesting. You know, I mean, obviously if you're a better team, it's tougher. And the Steelers, as you know, never had a losing record, blah, 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 blah. So I wanted to talk about going backwards, how much draft capital they've had. Now, the lower the number, the better. Like, for example, the Steelers are 30 this year because 2 teams are worse off. We'll get to the Browns in a minute, but the Browns are number 1. They have the best draft capital in the league. So if we go back last year, the Steelers were 16th, right in the middle. 13th the year before. And what's crazy is 13th is the best draft capital that they used. Again, remember, these are all past tense for drafts that are already in the books. So 2 years ago, that's the Porter year. I mean, think about it. They got an extra high pick. There were still 12 teams that had better draft picks than the Steelers when it was all said and done. And going all the way back to 2010, that year's the year that they had the best draft capital, period. I do think it's also interesting that was Omar's first year. So if 13's their best number since 2010 and 15 is where they were 2 years ago, that means, yes, you're a middling organization that's not winning, middling's not the right word, not winning playoff games, or you'd be much higher, where the Kevin years, they were more successful, generally speaking. But he also really values draft picks and is getting them, getting a lot of draft equity out of these dudes. Anyway, okay, so let's keep going back. I want to go all the way back, starting from 2014 all the way back to 2010. 15th, 13th, 20th, 32nd, the smallest amount of draft capital in the 2020 draft. 15th, 20, 21, 30, goes all the way back to 2016, 20, 16, 15, 24 in 2012, 28 in 2011. And then the last one he has charted here, 14 in 2010. This is not an excuse. This is a good problem to have. You want to be a winning organization, of course. And in some ways, you wish you were 32 every year. And I'll get to some of the more successful teams here in a minute. But my point is, they haven't had a ton of draft capital because they're good. And that is not an excuse for that's why they don't have their quarterback in place. But it has something to do with it. If you play cards and I don't get many aces or kings, it's hard to win. I mean, it just is. So these are facts. I mean, these are not excuses. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline is you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Assuming you were paying attention to the first half of the podcast, you kind of have a feel for Steelers compared to the rest of the league have not had as much draft capital as most. It's the way this thing works. If you're terrible, you get it a lot. What about the rest of the division? Ravens, you would think, are pretty similar, but they really aren't because they've been so good with the comp pick game. They massage that so well. Again, let's go backwards. For this upcoming draft, they're at 16. But I'm more interested in the drafts that are in the books. So going from 2024 back to 2010, Ravens were 19th, 29. That's low. That's bad. You want to have a low number, right? 4th in 2022, 15th, 9, 20, 6 in 2018, 14, 3rd in 2016, 17, 11, 19, 23, 23, 20. How about the Bengals? Bengals currently are 20th this upcoming one, but last year they had the 8th most, then the 23rd, the 27th, the 7th most in 2021, 5th, 10th, 9th, 4th most in 2017. That's a 5-year stretch where you're in the top 10. 26th in 2016, 11th, 24th, 12, 5 in 2012, 5 in 2011, 13 to wrap this thing up. The Browns are about the most interesting. As mentioned, as it stands going into this draft, they have the most draft capital. They're bad. They traded Amari Cooper, however you got there. But during the Watson era, they've been horrendous. The last 3 years, they were 32nd in 2024, 27th in 2023, 22nd in 2022. The 3 years before that, they were 18th, 12th, and 28th. But this is insane to me. In 2018, in 2017, in 2016, and in 2015, 4 straight years, the Browns had the most valuable draft capital in the entire league. 1-1-1-1. And then they were 4th most the year before that in 2014. 29th in 2013. First yet again in 2012. So in 7 drafts, once they were 29th, 5 times they were 1st, and 1 time they were 4th. And then in 2011, they were 10. 2010, they were 7. The last 2 teams I want to talk about are the Bills and Chiefs, because frankly, they're the 2 most successful organizations in the conference, clearly, over the recent memory. I mean, and still probably kicking. As it stands, the Bills have the 14th most for this one. But as you'd imagine, these last 5 years have not been kind to the Bills. They've been very successful. 18th in 2024, 26th, 19th, 24, 30th. Then we go backwards. 14, 7 in 2018, 25, 19, 32nd in 2015, 10, 9, 7, second most in 2011, but these are a long time ago, and 12. Last one to talk about is the Chiefs. As you would imagine, they're going to be very high on this list. I mean, bad because they're good. Right now, they have the 24th most draft resources for this upcoming draft. Again, all that stuff's subject to change. That hasn't happened yet. But last year, they were 30th. 2023, they were 24th. They were 9th in 2022. Then 30th, 26th, 30th, 30th. 22 in 2017. 18th, 13th, 31st in 2014. But fourth most in 2013, 12, 11, 4 in 2010. But it's nice to have Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, isn't it? No doubt. All right, that's what I got for today. A lot of you really enjoyed 2 days ago when we went over the Steeler draft capital and how they can maybe do some things about it. A lot of you really enjoyed my new Matt's mandate for big men in this upcoming draft. And my schedule is, usually I don't record Friday because these get in your ears the day after I record them. At like midnight, I think they get downloaded. So this will be my 5 for the week. I'm traveling almost all day Saturday to the owners' meetings. And then I'll definitely record something from my hotel over the weekend. I will not be able to record anything next Wednesday because that is going to be travel all the way home. So there you have it. But there should be some news from the owners' meetings, I would think, too. And I'll be recording while I'm down there. So take care, everyone. Over and out.